Okay, good afternoon. We had another briefing prior to the storm, and just want to fill you in on really what's going on, a few new things that we've learned. Of course, much of this we learned from the National Weather Service, and so we'll just explain to you and tell you what we heard and make sure that you get the message is the main thing. We're going to have between 7 and 8 in the morning, sometime in that time frame, the winds ought to really begin picking up, and the rain ought to be picking up. The winds will be out of the south-southeast, and the winds will be in excess of 50 miles an hour. Gusts will be over 50 miles an hour. They're unsure and hadn't told us what the sustained winds, what we can expect there. Just south of us, around Toledo Bend and all, the winds will be much greater. So there's nothing saying that we won't have 60 to 80 mile an hour winds. So this is just the best prediction. So we're going to have a lot of rain. We're going to have some flash flooding. We're going to have 4 to 6, 8 inches of rain, something like that, and nobody can be exact. We're going to have a lot of wind, 60 mile an hour winds, possibly greater than 50 mile an hour. So that's what we've been hearing consistently, and the predictability factor is they're almost positive of it now. So we've gotten that close. It'll start about 6, 7, 8 in the morning, and naturally it's not going to come in just all of a sudden 50 mile an hour winds. It'll start blowing, as you can imagine, and we'll start getting greater and greater and greater, as will the rainfall. If you have any questions about anything, as far as sheltering goes, as far as food, as far as the needs that you might have, call 211. Not 911, call 211. Call 911 if you have an emergency. If it's a medical emergency, if a tree falls on your house, if you see a car wreck, if there's an electrical line down, call 911. But if you happen to be out of electricity and not know what to do, or you need a place to stay, something like that, call 211, and they will get in touch with who needs to be to provide that particular service. Our Emergency Operations Center, or what we call an EOC, we'll be standing that up, opening it right here, starting at 6 o'clock this evening, and it'll go for at least 24 hours, depending on the amount of damage that we sustain. That will have members of the Shreveport Fire Department, the Shreveport Police Department, Shreveport City Administration, and the same thing with the Caddo Parish government. It'll have National Guard representatives, I believe SWEPCO representatives, Sheriff's Office will be represented here, and so we'll be operating here, so we'll all be in one room and we can get all the information immediately that we might need. As soon as this operation is over here, then the fire department, Shreveport Fire Department, the police department, and the rural fire districts, which I failed to mention, would be represented here, and the Shreveport Police Department and the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office. We will then see what resources that we have that we possibly can send to our friends down south. And so that'll be our next order of business. If we're okay here, then we will begin sending crews down south, because certainly they will need it, because this is a major Category 4 hurricane that's going to be hitting our coast and coming straight to here. Having said that, and we'll have questions in a moment if you have any, but I'll introduce the mayor. I believe the mayor is here. There you go.
How's everybody doing? I'm gonna bookend my comments by saying, please be safe, Shreveport. We absolutely need that. The city of Shreveport, in our preparation, we're going to be closing down city facilities for Thursday. All of Thursday's city facilities will be closed. Our emergency and essential personnel will be working throughout the day tomorrow. Our fire and police departments will be responding to any emergencies, and they'll have additional staff postured and ready to respond as well. And after I finish talking, I'll call Chief Scott Wolverton of the fire department up to speak in detail about that. Other departments that citizens should be aware of their operations: Sport Tram will halt all bus routes for tomorrow. There will be no Sport Tram buses in the community running tomorrow. The airport will continue storm preparation. They'll continue talking to the FAA and DOTD as well, just to update them on the status of everything. and they will be operating as an emergency hub if necessary. Also, with Public Works, and this is big, right now we've already given out 22,000 sandbags. Our workers are filling up sandbags and getting them out to the citizens as quickly as possible. We've extended the hours from 7:30 to 3:30. We've pushed it from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. So if you haven't been able to get sandbags yet, please make it out to 3825 Old Mansfield Road to pick up those sandbags. Additionally, about Public Works, they'll be suspending recycling pickup, trash pickup tomorrow as well. So if you have any recycling bins or garbage bins outside of your home, please secure those bins. We know we're expecting high wind tomorrow, so please secure those bins, and also secure anything else that you have out in the yard that could possibly be blown around, damaged, or destroyed with the high winds as well. So be on the lookout for that. And Public Works, call 673-6300 if you have any questions about trash pickup. We're going to try to resume on Friday, but obviously that's going to be dependent on, you know, how tomorrow goes forward. So if you have any questions about trash pickup, down trees, or drainage, call Public Works at 318-673-6300. I think that covers it for the city operations and how they'll be altered tomorrow. But again, I got to end by saying, please, please, please be safe. And I'll call up Chief Scott Wolverton of the Shreveport Fire Department at this time to talk in detail about our emergency response.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. Just so you know, in preparation for the storm and starting this afternoon with the shifts that are coming on duty, both fire and police will be at full staffing, as much staffing as we can get. Fire department will be placing an extra medic unit on duty because we are expecting a high volume of call as the storm comes in tomorrow morning, going into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. We have extra units that will be in place. We have our 4 rescue technicians that went down south have been relocated back here into the Shreveport area. They are dedicated under a FEMA mission to provide water rescue support here because we are in the pathway of the storm now. So they've just been relocated from Lafayette back to here in Shreveport. As we go into this next few hours, preparations been made to make sure all of our equipment is in place. We pre-positioned water rescue resources across the city. We have 2 of our brush trucks that are high 4-wheel drive trucks that can do some high water rescue if we're needed. And again, we just want to, we've been putting out a lot of messages to the community through the local media about safety and pre-planning and what to do and what not to do. So please, if you can continue to pass along those things to the community, we appreciate that, to our citizens. Best thing to do when this storm comes through is really just to stay home if you possibly can and stay out of harm's way if you can. And as the sheriff said and the mayor said, if you need help, it's an emergency, please call 911 and we'll be there as soon as possible. And let me mention one more thing. As it relates to the tropical storm winds and potential hurricane force winds, which are anything that's 74 miles an hour or greater, it makes it difficult to make emergency response. 50-plus mile-an-hour winds or gusts of 65-plus mile-an-hour winds, FEMA recommends emergency response to cease until those pass through and then start making your responses again. So during that time frame, it may get difficult to make some responses just so that our crews stay safe, our trucks stay safe. If something happens to them or something happens to our truck, we won't be able to make the emergency response afterwards. So we want to continue to keep them in full function and ready to serve when that time comes. Thank you.
All right, Caddo Parish Commission President.
You need to adjust here real quick. Sorry.
Come on, guys. Who is going to speak? Commission President. All right. Thanks. Well, may have to do something different here.
Grab that.
Here I said between 7 and 8 in the morning. Here it is.
Here it is right now.
Okay, the Caddo Parish Commission President, Mario Chavez, is next, and then I'll come back up and we can have questions.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. Shreveport. Obviously, citizens, just as fast as we just got rained on, things are going to be changing tomorrow, so I'll hit the high points from the parish. As always, know the parish is working closely with Homeland Security to monitor the changing weather as it develops across our parish. In the interest of safety for our citizens and employees, the parish of Caddo will be closed on Thursday, August the 27th, with the exception of key and essential personnel. The parish's public works crews remain ready to respond to any report of storm debris on our parish roads and anything that could also impede drainage on our roadways when it is safe to do so. The parish continues to operate sandbagging locations for those citizens who feel they need them. Sandbags will be available at the Parish Fleet Service Office, 1701, that's 1701 Monty Street in Shreveport, Louisiana. From today, they were going to close at 3:30 p.m., so a lot of people may have that information put out. However, they've been gracious enough. Our staff will stay late from 5 to 5:30. They're going to stay so that when you get off work at 5 o'clock, you can head straight over there and get the sandbags that you need for your house. They will reopen tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. and will stay there as long as supplies are available or as the weather permits. So if you can't get there tonight, right when you get off work, please go there as soon as possible in the morning. We're asking for your patience and cooperation as we work as quickly as we can to prepare and distribute the sandbags to all the citizens. We want to remind citizens to stay alert and up to date on the updates provided through our local media and be safe. The parish will provide updates on parish roads and other alerts to our website at caddo.org and through our social media channels. This is a rapidly changing and potentially dangerous weather situation. Citizens, you've heard this numerous times aforementioned from the mayor and the chief. This is a very dangerous storm. Please prepare today. It will be here tomorrow. Please stay off the roads during the storm and be mindful of high water, down trees, and power lines. Our crews will be working diligently to keep all of our citizens safe, and your safety is our top priority. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mario. Are there any other questions? We've covered a lot of information. I think we figured out that pretty much everything's going to be shut down tomorrow. It's coming in the morning. It's going to be some really strong winds, over 50 miles an hour. A lot of rain, 4 to 6 inches. Ought to be out of here by tomorrow evening. Then we'll get back to normal and see if we need to send somebody down south to help them. Hopefully there won't be any tornadoes here, but there is a risk of tornadoes, so keep that in mind. Sandbags until 5:30 at the city and the parish, and that's about a synopsis of it. Are there any questions that you might have?
Sheriff, can you talk about the possibility of sustained or hurricane force winds? Is there any discussion or preparation for potential opening of the bridges in the parish due to those high winds?
Well, of course, we'll be counting on the Department of Transportation to talk, to give us advice about that. The Louisiana State Police will be represented in our EOC that'll be opening up at 6 o'clock. So as that goes along, we can immediately close bridges and immediately do things. That's why the Sportran buses, and that's why the fire chief mentioned fire trucks and all. We'll be very mindful of the fact. Hopefully our winds won't get over 50 or 60 miles an hour. That's a lot of wind. We're not used to that up here. Our trees are not used to that. We're not used to that amount of rain. So we expect there's going to be some boogering up that's going to go on, but we're going to be ready for it, get it cleaned out as quick as we can, get everybody back to normal, and just call us if you need something, 911. Don't do anything stupid that's going to tie up our resources for the few people that do silly things in this kind of weather. Stay home and give us a chance to do our job and just then get back out and do what you want to do in a safe manner. So, any other questions? All right. The sheltering has kind of been it's kind of a moving target right now, because you have pre-storm sheltering that we're talking about, and then there's also sheltering that we have to be concerned about should a tornado hit a particular subdivision, and we have to deal with those people. And it's a completely different kind of sheltering, and then you throw in COVID. So the state of Louisiana has made the decision not to have large congregate shelters, especially up here. So we don't have any real sheltering facilities set up right here. We do have some hotels that are involved, and we can find you some shelter. So call 211 if you happen to be here and you need shelter. Either way, whether you are pre-storm or post-storm damage, call 211 and we will get the answers that you need and get it immediately. as far as emergency response, the fire chief talked about the emergency response in particular times if it gets, you know, we have guidelines that we're supposed to go to, but if you're hanging off the side of a cliff and it's 55 miles an hour and it's not supposed to be out, we're not supposed to report. If it's over 50, we're coming to help you. Okay? It's one of those things where if it can possibly wait until the wind subsides for the safety of our first responders, if your safety is not in danger. So that's the kind of decisions that we have to make. But I've never known us not to respond in Caddo Parish or Shreveport, Louisiana to a 911 call.
What about for citizens who have to be on the roadways? Any advice for those?
I'm sorry, the question was the...
Any advice for individuals and citizens who actually have to be on the roadways tomorrow?
The ones that have to be on the roadway tomorrow would be, I would hope that you headed north and that you can get out of our jurisdiction, because we don't particularly want you riding around out there causing us a problem. Just let's see how things go. If you have to, if it's an emergency, you have to get to the hospital or something, certainly you got to do like we're going to do when we respond to your call. You got to do it. But don't go get some milk tomorrow, okay? That's just, that can wait.
And then the days of power outages, what's anticipated with the heat and possibly elderly people at home with hot temperatures?
Of course, that's all post-storm, and that's what we'll be dealing with and planning with as all the emergency services go. And that's a problem for all of us, whether you're young or elderly, in the heat that we have here in Shreveport and Caddo Parish. And so right now, for instance, my advice is do things like if you're not on city water and you're on rural or water well, then you should know this. Keep water near a large pail of water near your toilet so that you can flush your toilets. Have bottled water so you can drink and cook with it. And that sort of thing. Most folks already do that. As far as the heat goes, and that's just something each person's got to deal with. If you're elderly, call 211, let us know. If you think you're suffering from a heat stroke, call 911. That's the difference I'm trying to emphasize. Any other questions? All right, thank y'all for getting the word out. Appreciate it.